Welcome to The Explainer, where we turn complex topics into clear, engaging explainers.
Today, we're asking a pretty big question. Can the people of a country directly change its most fundamental law? It's a powerful concept right at the heart of democracy, and we're going to explore it by looking at the specific rules for changing the Philippine Constitution. This is really a story about power and where it truly lies.
Okay, so let's dive right in. To understand how a constitution can be changed, first we got to get on the same page about what it actually is. Think of it as the blueprint for an entire nation.
A constitution is a supreme rule book for a country's government. It's the highest law of the land. But pay close attention to that last part on the slide. It can only be altered by the authority from which it emanates. And who is that authority? The people. So that leads to the big question, right? If it's the will of the people, how did the people themselves actually go about updating it?
Well, that question leads us directly to the first method of change, the amendment. The law makes a really crucial distinction here. Think of an amendment as a small, targeted fix, like correcting a single sentence in a book. A revision, on the other hand, is a total overhaul. We're talking about rewriting the entire story.
Now, for an amendment, there are three ways to get one started. You have the two routes you might expect, through Congress or a special constitutional convention. But then there's that third path, and this one is a real game changer, the People's Initiative. It puts the power of direct democracy right into the hands of citizens.
Okay, so that's the small tweak. Now let's look at the other kind of change, the major overhaul, which is known as a revision.
And this is way, way more than just a simple tweak. If an amendment is like fixing a typo, a revision is a complete rewrite of a story. You're changing fundamental principles, maybe even the entire structure of the government.
And this right here, this illustrates the key difference perfectly. Look closely at the paths available for a full-on revision. Do you see what's missing? That direct path for the people? It's gone.
And here it is, laid out plain and simple. The People's Initiative, that direct route for citizens, gets a yes for small amendments. But for a fundamental, wholesale revision of the entire Constitution, that's a definite no. That power is kept for Congress or a convention.
So this is the thing to really wrap your head around. There's this incredibly powerful tool, this People's Initiative, but it comes with some very strict limitations.
Just to get an initiative started, citizens have to clear an extremely high bar. First, they need a petition that's been signed by 12% of all registered voters in the entire country. That is a ton of signatures.
But that's not all. On top of that, you also have to get at least 3% of the voters in every single legislative district to sign on. And that makes sense, right? It ensures the proposed change has widespread support, not just support that's concentrated in a few places.
And even if you manage to clear that huge hurdle, even if you get all the signatures, the text of the law itself is absolute. This power is explicitly for amending, not for revising. It's a tool for fine-tuning, not for demolition and rebuilding.
Now, this isn't just a bunch of legal theory. This very distinction has had major, real-world consequences, putting the power of the people to a direct test.
Let's look at the famous Lambino case. A group gathered millions of signatures for a People's Initiative, and they were proposing a massive change, shifting the whole structure of the Philippine government from a presidential system to a parliamentary one.
So, the Supreme Court had to step in and decide, was this just a simple tweak or was it a total rewrite? Well, they ruled that changing the entire system of government was, very clearly, a revision. And because it was proposed through a People's Initiative, a path that's only for amendments, the whole effort was declared unconstitutional and stopped dead in its tracks.
So this all comes down to a core tension that's literally built right into the nation's rules. It's a very deliberate balancing of power.
You see, the power for the small-scale adjustments, the tweaks and the fixes, that's put directly into the hands of the people. But the profound power to reshape the entire system, to overhaul the nation's blueprint, that's reserved for the institutions they elect.
And all of this leaves us with a really critical question about where the ultimate authority in a democracy truly lies. Is a system like this a necessary safeguard to protect a constitution from drastic sweeping change, or is it a limit on the ultimate will of the people? It's a debate that really gets to the very heart of how a nation chooses to govern itself.